Welcome to Dev Blog number 53 for October, where a lot of interesting updates were shared. I've compiled only the most important information, so get comfortable and enjoy watching. This month, Felipe, the lead programmer, wrapped up some major work on the dinosaur diet system, bringing a few new dynamics into play. One of the primary changes he introduced is how the stomach now grows along with the dinosaur itself, shifting food requirements in interesting ways. For smaller creatures, this change isn't hugely impactful, but for larger dinosaurs that experience rapid growth phases, it's a big deal. They'll need to eat a lot more frequently. The mechanics of diet combinations were also adjusted, making them simpler overall and no longer tied to active slots. Nutrients now build up their bonuses based on their amounts, scaling up to a specific limit. Salt licks received an update, too. They're better at alleviating vomit sickness now, but at the expense of draining a nutrient when used. To manage these dietary choices more directly, players can now set an active nutrient in their dinosaur profile, adding a layer of control over which nutrient they want to focus on. Another interesting update: eggs are now part of the diet system. Players can collect eggs from deceased female dinosaurs that had already gestated them, or even steal them from nests, giving carnivores a fresh source of nutrient-rich snacks. Although this feature is available to all carnivores for now, future updates will introduce specific dinosaurs that specialize as egg thieves, adding another level of detail to the ecosystem. There's also good news for server owners. More configuration options have been introduced, allowing for a wider range of gameplay modifications. Admin commands have been streamlined as well, making them faster and more responsive. A new mass migration feature has also been added as a configurable option, with future plans to add nesting patrol zones to further enrich server gameplay possibilities. With these updates, the core of the system is now in place, and only a few additional features are still on the horizon. Ariel, the programmer, spent time adding some new features that players may have already noticed in the Horde test. The egg gestation system has been incorporated, along with some fine-tuning of the nesting mechanics. Previously, the number of eggs was predetermined by diet, but now players have more control, with the option to decide how many eggs to lay and even to spread out the timing of each laying. Additionally, a scent tracking feature has been added for eggs, enabling them to be picked up and eaten. Alongside this, Ariel continued working on the Maiasaura dinosaur. While most abilities were relatively easy to adapt for both bipedal and quadrupedal modes, the grazing action unexpectedly presented the most difficulties. This led to a complete rework of the animation for grazing, which was an improvement already planned. Thanks to these updates, the Maiasaura now moves with much greater fluidity. Amarok, programmer, has been focused on developing a new navigation system designed for fish, which can eventually be adapted for both aquatic creatures and flying animals. One new behavior he implemented allows fish to chase down and attempt to eat smaller players, a feature some players may have already experienced in the Horde test. With many foundational systems now in place, Amarok's current priority has shifted towards enhancing AI. The core logic for most creatures is complete, with major improvements in navigation and overall performance. For example, the Pterodactylus and Compsognathus AI has been designed with a new system enabling larger groups to spawn and interact with the environment. Although still a work in progress, these creatures can already be found roaming the island. Each animal will soon receive updates to their behavior now that the base logic has been tested for both performance and stability. Lastly, Amarok has introduced some new RCON commands for server administrators, available in the provided documentation. Brian, the animator, has been deep into rigging work, preparing for the next set of animals to get moving. The Kentrosaurus is leading the way, as the first dinosaur to use a new rigging system that will be the standard going forward. On the animation front, Brian's focus has recently been on the Maiasaura and Allosaurus. The Maiasaura, known for its resilience in earlier versions, has a new move ready for Evrima that adds to its defensive capabilities, so it's best not to provoke a protective mother. As for the Allosaurus, Brian is nearly finished with new locomotion animations for the adult, bringing a fresh look to its movement. Next month, he plans to begin work on the juvenile Allosaurus, setting up its animations to match the quality and style of the adult. Kissin' Kitten shares that October was packed with progress across multiple fronts. On the creature development side, Tyrannosaurus, Triceratops, Maiasaura, Allosaurus, Austroraptor, and soon Kentrosaurus are all actively being worked on in various stages. Animation work is either finished or nearing completion for most of these, with Kentrosaurus next in line and Baryonyx following. The animation team tackled the demanding task of finalizing Austroraptor's animations, which included land and water movement both above and below the surface, as well as extensive feather detailing. This challenging project was completed in record time, marking a significant achievement for the team. Additionally, new AI-driven creatures are on the way to enrich the island's ecosystem. These smaller animals, like grasshoppers, rats, dragonflies, and lizards, will populate specific areas and serve as prey for young carnivores, adding depth to the environment. The elders are also progressing well, with adult-to-elder transformations for certain creatures already being integrated into the game. As the year wraps up, the team is pressing forward with these developments to bring the island to life. Dondi reports that the recent migration zone testing was successful, with the game functioning seamlessly both with and without options like diets, buffs, patrol zones, and mutations enabled. Additional settings for server owners have also been added, allowing for more flexibility in customizing the player experience and rebalancing game elements. User interface changes are nearing completion as well. Transitioning from a retro console interface to a sleek in-game design required careful adjustments to avoid any visual jarring, but a solution has been found. A preview of the approved layout is shared, though the transition sequence is still in development. The menu's visual effects can be toggled off, and a small color selection will be available for menu customization. Visual Tech 48 has advanced on the underground transportation system that players have already partially glimpsed through prototype entrances scattered across the island. A series of updated images shows the upcoming replacements. While temporary placeholders like vending machines are still in use, these will eventually be replaced with AE's distinctive provisions. Like the hubs, the underground sections will include branching rooms, halls, and tunnels, as well as an elevator shaft. Once these main areas are set, destroyed tunnel variants will be added, opening into caverns and other internal spaces. Some temporary lighting is in place while the power system is being refined, so players should anticipate future changes. Several new elements are on their way to the next Horde test, including interactive environmental features like thermal vents and wind currents, which will affect flying creatures. These features can boost speed and provide lift without stamina cost if creatures fly with the current, while flying against it will slow them down. These currents are fully customizable, with options to activate based on time of day, weather conditions, or to remain permanently active. Daytime thermal vents, for instance, will dissipate during heavy rain, while unique nighttime wind currents will help flying animals navigate the island. Looking ahead, the next major animal addition, the Maiasaura, is almost ready for testing and will likely appear in the first Horde test of the next patch. Dondi also notes that a few other features are set to appear in the upcoming Horde test, though details are still under wraps. These include spawn codes, gastroliths, nesting zones, replay updates, and effects. He signs off, encouraging players to explore and prepare for what's to come on the Isle. And that wraps up our summary of this dev blog. What do you think of all these updates and changes? We're finally seeing the oviparous gameplay really take shape, adding more depth to nesting. Plus, with insects, a more stable system, and major improvements in dinosaur production, there's a lot to be excited about. Hearing news about Kentrosaurus and Baryonyx is particularly great for me. What are your thoughts? See you in the next video!